Mabuhay everyone! Spider-Man here and MARKCHES. Welcome to the channel, and today we will be doing the performance review of the Dawn Issue 3. So let's go. So I'll put you first here, Spidey, okay? So before we start with this performance review, I would just like to remind you guys that I still have a couple of ongoing raffle. So if you haven't joined yet and if you wanted to, please pass by my previous video and hopefully you will join. So right in front of me is the third signature sneaker of Donovan Mitchell from Adidas. This is the Dawn Issue 3. So the Issue 1, Issue 2, Issue 3 is mainly because he's a huge fan of comics, especially with this dude, the comics of Spider-Man. So he's a huge fan. So that is the inspiration behind the name of his sneaker. So if you still don't know where it came from, you're welcome. So let's start off with the upper of the Dawn Issue 3. It features a very standard mesh upper that is pretty normal for a lot of sneakers right now. But what I like about the mesh material, especially the ones used here on the Issue 3, is you don't need to break it in that long. Actually, I didn't need to break it in at all. Right from the start, it was pretty comfortable around your foot. It's not as fused as the ones on the Dawn Issue 1 over at the back. And as for durability concerns, the edges of the Dawn Issue 3 is pretty thick and it's dual layered around the edges to give you extra durability. And as you can see, these two plastic pieces around the side, lateral and middle side of the sneaker, it adds the durability to the sneaker, especially when a sneaker of your opponent or your teammate steps on you and sometimes scratches the mesh upper and you will see some threads popping out. So it will help prevent that from happening. And of course, it won't leave any scratch marks that much on the sneaker. Especially me, usually when I play, after playing, I would see some scratches around the lateral part because I like doing side steps and getting physical with the opponent for a rebound a lot. So I usually have scratches around the sneaker. So this will help you prevent that from happening. And let's move on to the mid part of the sneaker where the lacing system and the tongue part of the Dawn Issue 3 is. You would see some flat laces used on the Issue 3, which is pretty good because it doesn't loosen up that quickly. So if you're playing for a longer period of time, it won't loosen up. And you can see this garter here in the mid part of the lacing system. It's mainly for aesthetics, and one thing that the garter helps is it prevents the material from opening up because the lacing is inside the fused material, so it prevents the material from opening up and prevent it from making a weird shape, especially around the mid part of the sneaker. So the sneaker will still be looking sexy. And as for the tongue of the Issue 3, it is very well padded, very comfortable around your foot, and it's pretty easy to adjust because it has a traditional lacing system. If you want it to be tighter around the forefoot, especially the fit of the Issue 3 is not as tight as the ones on the Issue 1. It's not as snug there. And comparing it with the hardened Volume Force, which was really snug around the midfoot. And when I was playing with the Volume Force with the thick socks, sometimes it cuts the blood flow around the mid part of my foot. So that's really painful. But with this one, it has a lot more space around the midfoot, so it is wide foot friendly. But if you have a regular foot, you just need to tighten up your laces and you're good to go. And as for the last lace loop of the Dawn Issue 3, it has this very soft, foamy wings that is also, like I said, comfortable around your foot. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, and it's not too fused, and it doesn't add that much weight to the sneaker. And if you want extra lockdown and containment, just tighten this part up. And speaking of lockdown and containment, as for the Achilles containment or heel containment, there's no heel slippage for the sneaker. Just get the right size and you're good to go. And as for Achilles pillows, it's very well padded around the Achilles, and there's extra plushness around the ankles too. So when you're tightening it up, it's not uncomfortable when it's really tight around your ankle. So it's very plush around the ankles. So I think that's a good detail on the Issue 3. The Issue 3 has internal heel containment And another thing that helps in the containment is the cushion. It goes up around the back part of the heel and even on the sidewalls, on the lateral and medial part of the sneaker. And it really cages and contains your foot to the footbed. No foot slipping anywhere around the sneaker. They're very well contained around the footbed of the sneaker. And speaking of the cushion, it has a full-length light strike foam, which we will be talking about in a bit. But I would just like to highlight this plastic piece around the lateral part, which gives you maximum lateral support. Even though it's not too thick, it still gets the job done. Plus, it really contains your foot around the lateral part, especially when you're doing Eurosteps. Like Donovan Mitchell, which has a very powerful Eurostep, and his steps are really wide, so you really need that maximum lateral containment when you're doing those moves. Now let's talk about the cushion of the Issue 3. The full-length light strike foam of the Issue 3 is around the midway part of the cushion of the Volume 4s and the Dame 7s, because the Dame 7s has a thicker light strike foam, so that has maximum impact protection, but you're kind of higher off the ground, while the Volume 4s was really close to the ground. Like, I didn't feel any bounciness or impact protection, especially in the forefoot of the Volume 4s, and my foot will ache on the Volume 4s if I played with that for a long period of time. But with the light strike on the Issue 3, I think it's a nice combination if you like responsiveness, at the same time having a little bit of bounciness in the forefoot, and it has a very good impact protection around the heel. But if you are looking for a bouncy cushion setup, I would lean more on the Dame 7s, or you can go to other brands or other sneakers which has a better option in terms of bounciness. But like I've said, if you want a foam cushion that has a nice bounce to it and a very nice impact protection around the heel, the Dawn Issue 3 is not bad. And now let's move on to the traction of the Dawn Issue 3, which I think is a huge upgrade from the first two Dawn issues, because I like the pattern of the Issue 3s. It is wider, moves are deeper, and the rubber material used on the Issue 3 is kind of more pliable, so it sticks to the floor better, especially if you're playing on a dusty floor. And I have used this in two different kinds of dusty floors, and it was still sticking. And as for durability of the rubber, I also used this twice on an outdoor court, where if you've seen my Instagram feed, I always play in Activate Sports, so that's a little plug. If you haven't tried Activate Sports, guys, you should try and check out that facility. It's very good. And the court there is kind of mimicking an outdoor court. It's pretty rough, and I've used this twice there, and there's no fraying on the rubber whatsoever. So I think outdoor use for the traction is good. And as for the heel-to-toe transition of the Issue 3, it has a very nice curve, subtle curve on the forefoot, not too exaggerated. But what's nice about it is it's not too flat. And given that the Dawn Issue 3 is really wide on the forefoot, it's good that they put a little bit of curve around the forefoot part of the sneaker, especially if you like running up and down the court. For my overall opinion on the Dawn Issue 3, it is a very steady basketball performance sneaker, especially for the price point of $5,800. And I don't know if they still have some sale in Zalora. And if you are purchasing the first time in Zalora, you can get extra 10% off. This is not a paid advertisement of Zalora. I'm just giving you some tips on how to get extra discount on the sneaker. And for the price point and for the tech and the performance that you'll be getting out of Dawn Issue 3, it has a very dependable traction. That's the first thing that I like about the Dawn Issue 3. And I like how wide it is. And for a foam cushion, the light strike is not that bad on the Dawn Issue 3. And the support that you'll be getting of the Dawn Issue 3 is also good. Go half a size down if you're a regular footer, and true to size if you are a wide footer. So this has been my performance review of the Dawn Issue 3. Let me know what you think about this sneaker. Do you like them, or have you played with them? Let me know your thoughts or your review on the sneaker. I'm looking forward to converse with you guys. Thank you again for supporting this channel. This has been MARKCHES and Spidey signing out. Cheers.